Good afternoon, this is Jeff of Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 1210 Southwest Myrtle Street here in Dundee. We're located at the front of the home. We are just to the right of the doorway. We have a 4-inch cast iron cleanout as our point of access. We're going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. We do have water currently running, and we're going to zero out the foot counter right at the bottom of the cleanout. Alright, off we go. We're going to take a decent look at this flow line here when we come back. It's looking fairly rough and bumpy. Looks like it's got a decent amount of scale built up in it. Alright, we transition here over to concrete pipe. Also appears to be 4-inch, and those dangly stringy things there all appear to be cobwebs, not roots. And the pipe here, the concrete, appears to be transite concrete. A little bit different than aggregate concrete. It's got asbestos fibers in it rather than aggregate rock. Alright, we've reached the main here at 77 feet. And we're going to go do some locates to verify where the line terminates at. It looks like it ties right into a manhole. And we'll let the whole pipe drain out. We'll have a better view of everything as we come back. I located the camera head successfully. The line terminates at the main out here on Myrtle Street, ties right into the manhole that's straight out from the left side edge of the driveway. The line is just about done draining. So it looks like you might have some very, very minor standing water in the transite concrete. That or the line is just taking its sweet time draining out all the way. Even if it is standing water, we're talking like a 32nd of an inch. It's not something I would recommend doing repairs on. It's way too minor to justify a repair cost like that. It's also very, very clean. There's no buildup. I generally don't start seeing much in the way of buildup and flow problems, especially when the pipe material is still smooth and not rough on the inside, until you have an inch plus of standing water for around 10 feet or so. We picked up a little friend there, a worm crawling on the camera. Anyway, the transite concrete there appears to be in good shape, smooth, very clean. Now, this cast iron here was what I was a little bit more concerned about. There's a lot of rough bumps in the flow line, which can indicate the cast iron is getting near the end of its lifespan. The other issue too, you can see the difference in smoothness between this and the concrete. Debris traveling through cast iron pipe when it's this rough on the inside has a much harder time, and if things block up, it's much harder for the blockage to break loose on its own than in smooth pipe. But spots like this, you've got a lot of scale and pitting occurring here. It looks like you're not going to get a true full view of the cast iron until you descale, but the flow line is looking pitted. It looks like it's near the end of its lifespan. It's very, very rough and bumpy. And you can descale cast iron The trick with that is it's not knocking the rust loose. It's getting all of the rust out of the sewer line. Just can be very, very tricky to do. You can end up with worse situation than you had beforehand. But to do it properly is fairly expensive. And in a lot of cases, I feel like people it makes more sense just to update rather than to spend $1,000, $1,600 descaling a line to find out it's pitted and done for. It's not to say this isn't still functioning, but that flow line is incredibly rough. And if people are balling their toilet paper up or putting things down the line that shouldn't be going down the line, that's where this type of material, or this situation here, makes it very hard for debris to get out of the sewer line. And when you get those rough bumps like that too, the water normally will sit nice and flat in the flow line, but when it has all those peaks and valleys to dip down into, you have less water in contact with the debris, and debris does not flow through the line as nicely because it's dropping down into those little low spots. So at the least, I would recommend descaling this cast iron and rescoping it to see what it looks like. Ideally, what I'd really recommend here is just updating it. I'd look into an epoxy liner system. It's trenchless, but I'll get this cast iron located here. I wanted to see a bit of it before I started doing that. When the repairs aren't done, I'd rescope the sewer line. Especially, I do it at about the 1 year mark, especially if you have a fair amount of kids in your house or a bunch of people in general. Higher the volume going down the line, the more likely it is that debris is going to hang up. I located that spot there. We're around 4 foot 7 inches deep in the driveway skirt. And I've marked that with a white T marking. Here we come. Just put some paint down there. The line crosses underneath the driveway at about 26 feet there where it's coming into the yard. And so far here I'm getting a pretty consistent depth of around 4 foot 6 inches. And at this rate, the cast iron looks pretty old and tired. I would just recommend it be updated. And I would highly recommend looking into the epoxy liner for the repair. It appears to be a 4-inch cast iron line, so it's got the diameter to do it. And we're getting near the front door area here, still around 4 feet deep. And when it comes to cast iron, it tends to age pretty consistently, so more than likely the interior pipe as well is in a condition like this. And this section here is rough enough. You've got debris that's solidifying in the flow line. It just catches stuff as it comes through the line. Again, it is still functioning, but it is at the end of its lifespan here. That's why I recommend it be updated. And I would recommend the interior cast iron main line be updated as well. The stuff in there might look a little bit better, but it, again, ages very consistently. So from the clean out to 50 feet, I would recommend an update. Deal with the cast iron that is very rusted out and pitted. I would highly recommend looking into a liner, and they can actually do the liners on the interior of the house as well if you decide to go that route. And I would recommend a rescope afterwards to check the repair work. It's very important to do that. Make sure that everything looks good. As for the transite concrete, that stuff's still nice and smooth, flowing nicely, very clean. That portion of the line, I think, will survive for quite a bit longer. Overall, the line is functioning at this time, but the cast iron itself is nearing the end of its lifespan, which is why I recommend it be updated. And if it's not updated, I'd rescope the line about every year to keep an eye on it.